talk about cultural crafts, very few people will know it. But in Goa and in Chattagi and his partners were working to protect the horseshoe crab. Horseshoe crab was a creature that appeared on Earth 526 million years ago. This blood, white like milk. You take it out, it becomes blue like this. It is something that's the most powerful compounds to make antibiotics. It is a compound that you use to determine the sterility of a laboratory. You take horseshoe crab blood and put it in a clinical surgery. It coagulates, you know that wound is not sterile, there are pathogens or bacteria. When Sunita Williams went to space, she painted, instead of taking a big lab, she painted her earrings with horseshoe crab blood. It was, if there were pathogens in space, the color of her earrings would change. It's a giver of life. Relative was spider and scorpion, but an amazing creature that's beneficial to man. You sit here, as I said earlier, because of 5 or 6 insects and animals. Your food, $14 trillion worth of food, grains come to you because of these other creatures that who pollinate it. You cannot pollinate from the species of these. In many areas, greed overtook in America and in China. I'm not boring you, I'll tell you two examples. In Central Valley, California, is the largest, most fertile valley in the world. The Central Valley, where almonds grow, over 600 square kilometers. Nothing else grows there, just almonds. And they produce over 90% of the world's almonds. So the farmer got a bit greedy. He said, guys, why don't we have 92%? 90, that's 90%. All the insects eat away. So they sprayed the area. Made a cocktail of insecticides, fungicides, and sprayed the area. And when that happened, all the insects died. They put one on the back. For 3 years, nothing grew there. Scientists came. So they found fumes coming from the ground. They said, where are the pollinators? Where are the bees? Didn't even spray insecticides. That's okay. Till today, America imports beehives from Europe at $15 per beehive. Truckloads, and they release them in Central Valley, California to pollinate their almond crop. Half of them died because of the fumes, and remaining half are taken away to pollinate the orange crops. So we have destroyed our pollinator. We shoot them on our own foot. A bee travels 80 kilometers in a day, pollinating over 100,000 blossoms. In China, Sichuan district, the biggest fruit producing area in the world, pears and peaches. Man got greedy. And this tree produces 2,500 kilos. I can make a tree. Get rid of this pesky insects. They destroyed everything, just like America. Nothing grew there for 2 years, then they realized. And today, you go to certain places in Sichuan, farmers, their wives, their children, senior citizens come out holding jars and chicken feather in their hand. They climb into trees, dip into pollen, and try to brush the blossoms, artificial pollination. Can they match the bee? The price we pay is heavy. So there has to be respect. Nature created all this creature for a purpose. Every single creature, even a mosquito, has a purpose. A cockroach has a purpose. Okay. How many of you like cockroaches? No. Ladies just take them. What about you, sir? You like cockroaches? Not really. You see, a cockroach is a dangerous thing. If you take it and make somebody smell it, the person will get asthma. Because it is a natural creature, it's its natural defense. But it makes one of the finest medicines to cure asthma. In homeopathy, it's known as Blata orientalis. If you have an asthmatic patient who falls down on the ground, you follow the Western way of meditation, and is dying. You've got exactly 90 seconds of oxygen in the body before the person passes. The only way is to push into this whole lip over here, to stop muscles to get contracted, to make a hole and we can breathe. So that's the only way to save them. How many people can do that? How many people know that? But if you pour 10 drops of Blata orientalis, in nanoseconds the muscle will release. Now the story is this. The research done by a British and Pakistani scientists in England. They were sitting down and the cockroach came out of the hole, looking around with his moustaches going all pushed up. Hey guys, where's the party? He's looking for food. Where's the party tonight, guys? And the British scientist said, he's just come out of the sewer hole. And spick and span and no dust, no disease, and they don't die. What is it? So he experimented on the nervous system of the brain and the body, of the nerves, and discovered that this creature contains the most powerful ingredient. And they went in, you can cure asthma. In India, there is a medicine that can cure asthma through Ayurvedic. It's called asthma. Effective medicine, tested and tried, but the pharmaceutical industry doesn't want it to come. At NIO, this was done. This answers your question second time. At NIO Goa, they discovered the compounds and they sold it to a private manufacturer, start manufacturing. And the pharmaceuticals set about to suppressing asthma and cure, C-U-R-E, of asthma, not just relief. 3 months, 1 bottle of syrup of 70-80 rupees, you do 2 or 3 a month. In 3 months, your asthma will reverse. Many years ago, in Darjeeling, many years ago, when the British were here, there was a sanatorium there. And there were all patients of all sorts recovering. Clean air, pristine, beautiful, oxygen, hill station. On the other hand, it was a very good country. There was Lord's son was there. Dr. Khan. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. How are you? Good morning, sir. How are you? He went back. He heard the voice. Good morning, doctor. I'm very well. But all this 1.5 years, they have not heard this voice. It's gone wrong. That's it. We gathered each other. What did you take last night? Look, I'm good. I'll look over it. Look, I can stand. He stood up. If this man was bedridden, how much he got the energy and he got restless. So he asked the nurse and while we did some investigations as to what had happened. And they said, sir, we have fed him nothing except tea. So the doctor went into the kitchen. In the kitchen he found beautiful Darjeeling tea and 2 dead cockroaches. So he went and made cockroach tea and he grabbed 2-3 cockroaches and fed everybody who was suffering from asthma in the sanitarium with cockroach tea. And they all showed remarkable results. Blata orientalis took birth. If you cannot sleep, coffee, if you drink coffee, you can't sleep. But to make you sleep, homeopathic cures like homeopathic medicine, coffee makes you relax and you sleep. Light cures in life. So that's the secret on this. So asthmatic things. So people who have cancer cells, they take the cells and make antidotes out of it. Hi.
Sorry about that.
Hey, welcome.
So great to see you.
Huh? Wonderful to see you.
Good to see you.
Those are the stories of wild and nature. But nature provides you solutions. Are you willing to listen? It is there. When we were kids, we used to go to Suri and Malda, and there was a bramble thorny bush, and you brush against it and started scratching your head. And immediately the people nearby, the thing called, what they call palak, you crushed that and rubbed it, scratching burn used to disappear. तो तुमने ही दर्द दिया तुम ही दवा देना. The cure was just there. And whatever, I mean, trees are not just trees made so that you can burn and use as firewood. Trees have been here for the oldest organisms on the planet Earth. And they have seen their immunity is such. If somebody from the Western world comes here and goes and has a big curry, good one, will have runny stomach, right? But you don't, when you get 10 times, because immunity is low. But trees that have gone on and on, that man stays here after 6 years, he's become immune also. So you are immune, you don't need that. So the trees have been here longer than all of us. And it's their immunity which the medical man takes. Medicinal man takes, turns and takes the essence out and gives you the power of the tree. So when you're fighting, it's the tree within you that's fighting. It's nature's gift that's fighting back with the elements. There's no magic. But because you get everything in the capsule, the great advertisement will fall prey to these things. No cures. Enough so that they take you long life and they can keep selling. Same with vehicles. So they become a commercialized world. So vehicle engine is supposed to run 80 to 150 years. Why did you tune it? I can get a brand new car, detune it, it will start to leak. So you can show it in an 80-year-old engine, tune it well, no pollution. So this is abused by the automobile industry and the pharmaceuticals, who are eating up the earth. Time has come. And green stories about that, about people finding good stories in their own region, areas, telling their own stories, and trying to build capacities, empower our people at the grassroots level, extreme grassroots level, to bring about the change. We need change. The earth needs change. And every single person, every single one of us has the potential to bring about change. The idea is to dig in. At the end of the day, you won't eat diamonds and golds. So you can have the price of fish curry, you're good. So let's respect nature and treat it really like what we call it like our mother. Good luck. 24/5 story.
Yes, sorry it took the team a little bit time. We were filling in for an emergency, so that's why. Really sorry about that.
One other person has to go home also.
Yeah.
Go home to America.
Yeah. She's done. Start. No, so this is the second edition of Green Stories, and we're really happy that first thing is in Goa, and it's also been a very great partnership with Sunaparanta, I would say, and that's been very special for us. And why we feel Green Stories is really important is, I think, extending to what Mike is saying, that Mike has told stories for more than 50 years. And even if you go to rural parts of India, different parts of India, they've all seen this Earth Matters, and they got inspired by stories. So how do you really amplify the voice through stories for environment? And we are really living in a world where we can see things around us disappearing. So I think through Green Stories, what we are trying is really give a platform for filmmakers, seasoned filmmakers, emerging filmmakers, and really build a community so that they can really tell their stories well, and so that it goes out into the world. And this becomes like the connecting point. It starts from here, and it really goes out to the whole world, because this is where not only filmmakers from India are coming, the filmmakers this time from Thailand, there are filmmakers from Singapore, there are filmmakers from Africa, and there are filmmakers from India. And the panelists and mentors who are coming from, again, represent India as well as the globe. And the panelists who are going to come, who are going to listen to these stories, again represent, it's an international representation. And it's all happening here, right here in Goa. So I think it's very special for us, and a lot of people are coming because it's here also. So I think it's a very special thing, and I hope it grows over the years, and it actually impacts what is happening to the world around us. So I think that's why we are all here, and it's a fantastic collaboration between Dockage Kolkata, between Riverbank Studios, and between Dusty-Foot Productions. So I think everybody coming together also reflects the way we think. It's about nature, it's about the forest, it's about all of us, including you all. All of us are interdependent on each other to make the voice. I mean, we won't be anything without each other. So I think that's the philosophy we want to we work with, we live with, and hopefully, do it. No, I think you both have said it all.
Yeah, and I think what God has done is given us a foundation which is peaceful, the ambience is beautiful, and this is what the world needs, not only India. We all need. And such foundation with all heart is opened up with all and ministers coming together, telling their stories, and Green Stories is actually sowing seeds of progress, empowering people at the grassroots and the extreme grassroots level at what each individual can do at his level to make a difference. Whether it's protecting water, giving one drop of water, or saying no to plastic. There's no magical switch to bring about the change. Efforts we have to make. We are in a period where even if we make the best of what we do, we will be in the middle, taken up, and you'll see a few decades before you see the change. But it's all worth it ultimately. Today, I remember mentioning to somebody, the food does not taste as it was. It used to about 20 years ago, because they're all fertilizer. It's all chemical. We need to go back to organic. And that's what was our strength. We were an agrarian society. What is wrong with that? Tractors have replaced our bovine population. We need to go back to nature. Machines will not provide us with a need where we could evolve to a much more sophisticated, more elite society that's also protect not only ourselves, but beyond the horizons and reach into other planets.
think.
We are going to think big. Because we are the only nation that really believes seriously in reincarnation. We are not thrown away. Plastic bag maybe it's thrown away, but it's recycled. But souls are not so easy, so cheap. They are created here for experience, for lessons. And once they pass, they come back again. To take on the job where they left it. That is what's needed. The philosophy, whether you look at it, if you look at it, I mean, thousands of years ago, the AI is not going to decipher all the languages and all that. What was written in the Vedas, oral text. Text came later. Oral dissemination of information. There are things that are not possible to know today. They have a meaning. How could they measure the distance between the earth and the sun? In yojans. The akar, the circumference. So we are very enlightened and sophisticated and knowledgeable civilization. But it got taken away and we lost it. Invaders took some, the British took a lot. The time has come back, we got our own mother back. Let's work hard and bring about change. And Green Stories aims to do that. Am I right, guys?
Any other questions you may have?
When it started today, so the inauguration is happening today evening, and we have the patrons of Sunaparanta also there at the inauguration at 6 o'clock. And we will go, the event will go on till 12th of November. 11th of November.
So right now the mentoring labs are going on, and there'll be some film screenings tomorrow and day after, 7th and 8th. There's some film screenings. In fact, one of the films, Yanu Nihe, it just won a big award at Jacksonville, and so that's showing. And then 10th and 11th other, which is where the filmmakers who are here for mentoring, they'll be pitching to a global list of panelists. So,
and we have this in the press release that we've shared with you. It has details about the film, has details about the film Vita is talking about, which is one big grand award, Jackson Wild, like the Oscars of wildlife filmmaking, and the biggest wildlife film festival. So that is playing here. So it's open to guests. Any of you want to come see, it's a really powerful film.
any study in wildlife?
Study in wildlife in Goa. We've been not study, but we work with a lot of researchers and naturalists and scientists in Goa. We make films in Goa. We work with a lot of filmmakers in Goa. In fact, today evening we have requested the Goa Water Stories, which is the project based in Goa. It's very special. They're going to present to all participants who come from all over. And the idea is to root what we are trying to do very much with Goa's wildlife and waters and rivers, because we want people who come here to understand why this is happening in Goa, why Goa is so important. Even the global landscape right now, Goa has so much water and forest, and why it's important. So,
I was mentioning earlier how I spotted tigers with food plots. We have one film that we did for Earth Matters on the dolphins here. And even in the water, where people were filling up sand in water bottles and throwing them for the dolphins to catch them, causing them, endangering them. So we wrote a lot about that do not cast bottles loaded with sand or whatever in waste. It's going to jeopardize life. So there were some corrective films that we did earlier, and also Goa's water supply is limited, fresh water supply, and we've done a film, major one about how it needs in biodiversity, how the western Ghats are very, very fragile, very sensitive, and the trees have to be protected. If you have to do mining, go underground and do not remove the top cover. we need all these, and the ecosystem is such that you need to keep the balance in there. Your rain, high wind, high tidal winds, all those. Nature plays a great part in I think whether it's trees or animals or the turtles that you can have with their legs. Even ocean crabs will find here area. They need to return. We need to restore the earth with pristine beauty. We need to restore the beauty of the balanced earth, which then becomes sustainable. Right now we've wrecked every single chain. The food chain to keep the earth alive.
Yeah. No, I was just saying that we're also working with the Goa Biodiversity Board and trying to partner with them. So they were there last year. They're going to be here this year. Pradeep ji is going to join us. So we're also actively trying to work with the filmmakers. There are a lot in the volunteers this year trying to work with one filmmakers there. So so here, so we are right now, the Green Stories is not complete films. We are trying to enable filmmakers to make the film. So this is a mentorship program to help them first enable the filmmakers to be able to make films that can reach audiences. That audiences will want to watch. You will also want to open your phone and watch something that is watchable. So how to make something that is watchable, that in simplistic terms, that is what's happening here. All the experts are meeting so that the films can become something that people will want to watch. So it's not a film festival, it's a mentorship program.
One of the
Goa can't be seen in isolation, I feel. Rita, you want to speak to that? She works all over now.
Yeah, I think it's not just Goa, but I think every part of India right now is, I think one of the biggest things which is happening with all the urban areas is the town planning. And I think only day before yesterday, one part of Goa, Panjim, which is one of the most best examples of conservation area, where you're looking at urban development, but you're looking at conserving the traditional architecture, and even when you're extending it, you're not destroying the traditional structure. And this exists in very few. I don't think we have urban planning in any other part. That's something which is missing in our urban areas. So it's not just in isolation, but that is actually one of the good things about Goa, where at least one part is a conservation area, and that impacts everything. That impacts the water system, that impacts the building material you're using, that impacts how you're expanding, how the culture remains. So it's all interlinked. Environment is not in isolation. But I think the larger thing is how the rest of the state or rest of the country is developing in terms of a lot of the natural spaces are disappearing. You have water crisis everywhere. You have urbanization expanding so fast that even before you think, your wetlands are going, your forests are going. Goa's had one of the best citizens movements for Molem, right? The My Molem movement is an example which has been quoted in other states and other areas to protect their own forests. I think only the citizens can speak up. So I think it's very important right now. The biggest crisis is everywhere natural spaces are going, and it is going to lead to food security problems. It is going to lead to pollution. And the only way we can look at the future is a collective future. And if all of us come together for the future, that's the only solution, I feel. So, and I think coming back to Green Stories, what Doyle was saying, it's actually what you were asking. See, making films is not an easy thing. Working in environment is not an easy thing. Working for conservation is not an easy thing. And one of the biggest problems with environment documentaries is funding. Today you want to make a film, it's not easy to get funding for that. But you want to tell your story. You don't want to tell a short story, long story. You want to really tell your story well. And for that, you have to spend 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. And for that, that means you need funding for that. How will you survive? You have to do other jobs to make that film. So what we are trying to do at Green Stories is to enable that funding. So when these panelists are coming, when the mentors are coming, they're trying to sharpen your projects, really get the core of the story, and then you're being able to pitch to the broadcasters, producers, directors, different platforms, which you don't have access to in India. We've all been filmmakers for years, but we never had the chance to pitch to National Geographic or Discovery or BBC or any other platform because we never had access. So Green Stories is bridging that gap. We are trying to make documentary filmmakers be able to raise their funds for their films. And they have to really work at it, but at least you're creating one bridge. That's what we are doing. It's not like the complete film, but really creating the bridge between documentary filmmakers and the funding areas, funding opportunities, building a community so you don't feel you're alone in this whole thing. So just do it.
So that your product is saleable overseas. And that's where the money is.
Even in India, we have really good Indian broadcasters, panelists, and that group of funders is even increasing in India. Earlier, it was just the global producers. Now there are people who are supporting environment films even in India. So bringing everybody together, So that's really.
Our own industry, naturally, and from overseas. That's where things are start. So when you got a bigger audiences, then the films have a greater outreach, and that's what we're fighting for. And films do become effective for your ultimate customers. And the film that we made earlier, legislation has changed in the country because of films. That's the power of films. So when started one, is one, was such films, legislation came in, and people were sensitized. Just making the film and finishing is not enough. People have to see it in local languages in the simplest way. Now, these stories is, apart from opening up the market here and empowering people, building capacity, is enabling our filmmakers to evolve at a high level and to broadcast all over the world. And that's what make world quality films. And then this is another wave that's coming. You're leveraging our filmmakers to a high level so that they can rub shoulders and be at par with the rest of the world.
Okay, thank you. I hope we answered all your questions. And please stay for tea and
And the inauguration.